Save some green this March by visiting the new Lloydminster Nissan in the Big Blue Building on Highway 16 West. Purchase a new car, truck, or SUV from the new Lloydminster Nissan this March and get lucky. Right now at the new Lloydminster Nissan, your first payment is on us, and you can win free payments for a year with your new or pre-owned purchase. May the luck of the Irish be with you all March and all year. The new Lloydminster Nissan. We won't sell you a car, we'll help you buy one.
At Lloydminster and District Co-op, membership matters more. Because being part of a co-op means you're connected to something bigger than yourself. From long-held legacy by those who built our communities, to people you call family, friends, and neighbors. When you're a Lloyd Co-op member, you're an owner in a local business that prides itself on purpose alongside profit. You earn cash back, you help support causes that matter most, and you're building a better way of life for the next generation. Membership matters more.
Local people. Local news and events. Local sports. Local matters. For all things Lloydminster and area, this is Live with Kurt Price.
Hey, welcome to the Lloydminster Exhibition and the new Lloydminster Nissan Exhibition Grill. It is great to have you with us today at the new Lloydminster Nissan. 2023 Rogues and Cash Guys are at cost right now, blowing out the 2023s, and the Cash Guys are going really, really fast. So get out there and have a look. Still have a great selection, but those are really moving. And of course, 2023 Rogues, we have all kinds of trim levels and beautiful colors for you to take a look at, and those are at cost as well. So see us today in the temporary location in the Big Blue Building on Highway 16 West. And right now, with the Luck of the Irish sale, you could win payments for a year. That's at the new Lloydminster Nissan Big Blue Building on Highway 16 West. Border City Card Show is this Saturday at the Gold Horse Casino, and Ben Scrivens is going to be there signing autographs. Ben played 144 games in the NHL for Toronto, LA, Montreal, and in Edmonton, set an NHL record that still stands today. And we're going to talk to Ben in a bit, and he's going to tell us how and who gave him his nickname and how it connects back to Lloydminster. Chris Brinklow is also here. He is the organizer of the Border City Card Show, and we'll get the details from him. That's coming up next, but first, BioClean Disaster Services is a local company that's restoration and cleaning is second to none. Wind, fire, flood, that can be so disastrous for your property and for your belongings. It can also take its toll on your family. That's why BioClean Disaster Services, their commitment is to you and your family. All products are safe for you and your family. They'll keep your family up to date on what's happening with your restoration project and getting your family dynamic back to where it was before the disaster. That's their commitment to you. Committed, certified, reliable, and very local. Serving Lloydminster, Wainwright, St. Paul, Bonnyville, and Cold Lake. BioClean Disaster Services at 1-833-246-8326. Lloydminster Bobcats and the Canmore Eagles split the first two games of their AJHL playoff series this past weekend, and Game 3 goes tonight in Canmore. There's a viewing party at the Canadian Brewhouse here in Lloydminster tonight, and Game 4, which is tomorrow night, they'll also have a viewing at the Brewhouse, but games start at 7 o'clock. Game 5 will be back here Friday night at the Civic Center, and tickets are on sale now at Tate's Cold Beer and Liquor Mart and Payless Car Wash. And actually, I know this guy was at both those games. What did you make of the 8-3 loss?
They weren't ready. They were rusty, obviously. 2 weeks off.
I kind of asked Brad Riella about that. Like, how is it going to be just jump right back into it? Yeah.
Well, yeah, 2 weeks off, and then you just right into playoff mode. I think the Eagles certainly had the edge because they played 3 games during that time, and they were just ready. They just had the momentum, and we were killed in
3
shots.
playoff games they played. Like, it was a play-in series, but
right. So
playoffs.
They were already playing playoff hockey before they showed up at our door. So we were just flat. And if you were there, I mean, we got doubled up in shots, and it just wasn't pretty. But the next game started off almost same way as the first game finished, but then I think just a switch hit. I don't know. Third period, we owned it, and carried it all the way to double overtime, and it was fantastic. Those that were still remaining at 11:30 were cheering hard, so it was great.
So once again, Game 5 is back here on Friday night over at the Civic Center. And the good news for the Bobcats is they've won both their games in Canmore already this season. Lloydminster Area Brain Injury Society has moved to a new location there beside the East Side Tim Hortons. Labus will hold their grand opening tomorrow from 2 to 3 with a come-and-go tea to show off that new location. And Verna Haight told us that there's a lot of room for parking and there's a lot of room inside. And that extra room is exactly why they made the move.
The main reason was the space. This space is just wide open. It has so much more room for the wheelchairs, for walkers, everything. Just lots of room to play games. We now have a pool table and a foosball table in there, and still tons of room.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Pool table and a foosball table.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks to the Tremblays. They were fantastic with helping us get that stuff in there.
The Connect Club of Lloydminster and the Downtown Area Redevelopment Committee are hosting an Easter egg extravaganza on Saturday at the Olive Tree. That goes from 9 to 11:30. It features a free breakfast, pictures with the Easter Bunny, crafts and treat bags, and of course egg decorating. Sticking with the Easter theme, the Lloydminster Museum and Archives, they will host Pasanki and egg dip dyeing on March 30th from 10 to 4. They're also hosting crafts, the scavenger hunt, and more. And that's brought to you by the Lloydminster District Co-op. And you can book a time by going to lloydminster.ca/Easter Pasanki. And the Co-op Marketplace once again be teaming up with the GOAT and the Lloydminster RCMP for Operation HOP on March 28th. That stands for Operation Help Our People. And they'll be collecting food for the Salvation Army again on March 28th. At the Lloydminster District Co-op. Lloydminster RCMP are hosting Youth Academy again this April. Constable Melanie Flynn told us that at the job fair last week that Youth Academy is for those aged 15 to 19 who may be thinking of a career in law enforcement, and it features exposure to many RCMP units. And you can contact Constable Flynn for more information. And some of those units she listed off for us.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. They start at 8 a.m., show up at 8 a.m. Fitness is in the morning, so we'll do a fitness component. And then there is some classroom material. We talk a little about the criminal code and our authorities as our police officers and the RCMP in general. And we talk about the recruitment and application process with the kids, with the youth. And then we'll also... Then we'll go and move into we have a field house booked over at the Synergy Vault over at Holy Rosary there.
Oh, okay.
So that's where we'll be at. So we have that big field house booked for those 3 days. And so there'll be lots of exposure to different units. Like we'll have our police dog coming in. We'll have our forensics units coming in. We'll have some of our firearms experts coming in. So the youth will get to see different careers. And they're going to be a lot of hands-on learning too.
The Lloydminster Reapers Rugby Club presents Rugby Day in Lloydminster this Saturday. The Reapers will host at E.S. Laird Middle School starting at 1 p.m. They'll have free hot dogs with a lot of information and a touch tournament for all ages 2 p.m. That will go. And President of Reapers Rugby, Cale Miller, told us that last year saw the club grow and they'll be affiliating with Edmonton teams again this year for both women and men.
After we started back up last year, we got some really good traction going. We ended up having a few practices with almost 30 people showing up. Not as many games as we'd like, though. I think last year when we talked, we had just teamed up with the Rockers in Edmonton for our girls to play. So they were able to play some games there. Unfortunately, on the men's side, not that much. But this year, we're changing that. We just have started a partnership probably with the team known as the LTs in Edmonton. So our men can play on that team if they want to. We have some really talented guys on the team who show up for every practice. But like I said, last year, not many games around here for them to play. So same as the girls, this year they'll be headed up to Edmonton for those games.
We're going to take a break, and when we come back, Chris Brinklow is going to tell us all about his little friend here and how you could quite possibly win one in a raffle at the Border City Card Show this weekend. We'll be back with the organizer of the Border City Card Show in just a moment.
I'm Brian Zinchuk of PipelineOnline.ca. I used to be a pipeliner, and I've spent the last 15 years reporting on energy in Saskatchewan. PipelineOnline.ca provides comprehensive coverage of light oil, heavy oil, lithium, helium, power production including coal, wind, solar, geothermal, natural gas, and nuclear. There's a lot happening in Saskatchewan's energy sector, and Pipeline Online is there for all of it. No one else comes even close.
It's more than just taxes at LNA CPA. Assurance, accounting, retirement planning, estate planning, business consulting, financial consulting, farm program support, and bookkeeping. But yes, there is always taxes. The team at LNA CPA is committed to helping you achieve your best results and will be there to assist you every step of the way. LNA CPA, with offices in Provost, Vermilion, and Lloydminster.
At Jason Arden Associates Cooperators, we're proud to be a top-rated local insurance company that offers flexible solutions and expert advice for all your insurance and investment needs. We'll work with you to tailor your insurance specific to your needs, and we offer investment advice that always puts you first. At Cooperators, one of our core values is to give back to the communities that we live in. Thanks to the support of our clients in Lloydminster and area, in 2023, Jason Arden Associates has donated $40,000 to local nonprofits, charities, students, athletes, and other special events. How does your insurance company support our community?
Welcome back. One of our supporters is Superior Water. Superior Water specializes in nothing but water, and with over 23 years in the business, they're proud and confident that their water and their service is superior for iron filters, water softeners, reverse osmosis, distillers, chlorine removal, and H2S odor removal. Give Superior Water a call, 780-875-6636. You can visit them at their 57th Avenue location right beside Sheepskin Loft, and stay hydrated with pure, clean water. I drink Superior Water because I like the taste. I believe it is superior. Now, welcome back to the Lloydminster Exhibition. Our guest is Chris Brinklow. He is the organizer of the Border City Card Show. And Chris, great to have you here.
Thanks for having me again.
So, you've this is the third Border City Card Show that you put together.
Yeah, and it's been growing every year. Had to do some shuffling even last night, and had a couple of guys grab tables. So still even a few days before, after laying out our floor plan and finding out where we had space, added a couple more tables. So now we have 52 tables worth of sport collectibles, and not just sports, it's Pokemon, Magic, other hobby related collectibles. So it's grown from last year, March, where we were at the mall and we were at 28 tables. So it's grown each show, and it's amazing. Like, I still have a waiting list of people that would take a table if one came available. So I might have to be looking at a bigger space coming up here. I don't know.
So it feels to me like the 90s again. Like early 90s hockey. Hockey cards were so popular in this country anyway. It was all about hockey cards. Pro set, upper deck.
Absolutely.
Now today I guess it's all about the upper deck, but it feels like the 90s again.
It does. And I remember growing up, I graduated in Nipawin in 91. And I had a bunch of friends that lived in Prince Albert, and we were collecting score and pro set and opening packs and finding that Sergei Fedorov rookie.
Yeah.
And that was the hunt. Fedorov, and also then you had Lindros with score, and Yager with the OPG Premier. So there was a lot of cards that you're looking for. For me, I was a big, I was a Penguins fan, but I really liked grabbing those Fedorov cards because those were selling for about $25-30 a pop at the time, which, the packs were maybe 50 cents. So if you can make a $25 profit on a 50-cent pack, that was a good deal. So
yeah, I remember those OPG Premiers. My brother I was like, why are you buying those terrible cards? Like those are horrible. Why are you buying them? And then it turns out those are the popular cards. From, I guess, 1990, it would have been 91.
Yeah, I actually
90, and then 91 was Series 2, I think.
Yeah, Premier 2, and I actually have an unopened box of that at home still, just sitting there.
The first one or the second one?
The second one, yeah.
The second one.
Yeah. So there was some of the throwback cards in there with the vintage jerseys that they had in the early 90s. I wasn't a fan of some of those, but they That was Nick Lidstrom's rookie year and Konstantinov's rookie year. So those were the big pulls out of that. And
I remember
Yager was the year
referee
before.
cards.
What's that?
Referee
cards and
Pro Set had referee
and they
cards.
also had coach cards too.
Yes, they did.
That was a massive set. I can't even remember what the numbering was on that. And then they had NHL logos too.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was massive.
It was a flooded market, and
but cards were like 50 cents a pack.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I even I was on. I jump on Marketplace every now and then and see what's out there, and I found a guy that was selling some Wax Packs boxes from 90, 91, 91, 92 for $40. He was trying to, and I was like, that's actually a pretty good price, not just for value but just for the nostalgia to open up and see who you get. So it's for someone like me who just likes to do it. I mean, I'm not in it to flip money, and I mean, we have our little friend here, Mr. Connor Bedard.
Yeah, you got one of those.
I lucked out. I bought a tin for $90, and don't ask how I got a tin for $90, but that's a $700-800 card there right now. When it first came out a couple of weeks ago, it was riding pretty hot at about $1,100 to $1,000. $1,100 to $2,000, and then it's dropped off a bit. And there are a lot out there. But for me, I collect the set first. Anything else on top of that is a bonus. So that's going in my binder. And some people think I'm crazy for putting an $800 card into a plastic sleeve and into a binder. But
you are crazy.
That is, I have friends that did that with McDavid, though. He my friend Braden, who's one of the co-organizers, he's like, well, when I got my McDavid, I put that into a binder page as well. So
part of the set.
This is part of the set. It has to be there. You can't have a blank space. It looks weird. Yeah. So,
if you buy a tin of these are 2023, 2024 Upper Deck Series 2, are you almost guaranteed to get a Bedard?
So it all breaks down. So there's blaster boxes, there's tins, and then there's the hobby box. So the blasters have 4 packs, and you're going to get about 2 young guns out of that. That's what this is. The young guns are the rookie. Earlier on this year, there was the OPG that came out, and that was his first card in a Blackhawks uniform on ice, but young guns have become the staple of the rookies. So you can get potentially 2 young guns in a blaster. Then you go to tin, you can get 4 young guns, or you can go to a hobby box and there's 6 young guns. You're never guaranteed to get a Bedard. I mean, I think out of a case you could probably get 2 or 3 because there's 12 boxes in a case. But it really is just the luck of the draw. I mean, the person that I bought my tins from, he had 12 tins, and I just said, I'll take that one, and that one I pulled. And
one tin had one tin didn't.
One tin had one, and also in the same tin that this one did, the pack before this one, there was an OPG insert, which was a glossy, Connor Bedard glossy with a gold frame, and I sold that one instantly on eBay for $60. So
right,
it went I had it on eBay for 20 minutes, and I got an offer on it. So
gone.
It was gone. Bedard is selling like bananas. It's
that's what's created this stir, right? Would you say that? And of course, earlier this year in Regina, there was a whole case of. There was several cases.
Can you imagine?
Yeah,
just having that downstairs
of Gretzky
the
cards
whole time.
Yeah. Cards with possibility of getting some Gretzky
potentially. Yeah, and I mean,
1979,
79-80. And did you know that the Gretzky card is actually not even an NHL card?
No, I didn't.
It's a WHA card. Their jersey is a WHA jersey because the Oilers logo was orange.
Well, it's certainly not a nice card.
It's not an attractive card
no,
for the
isn't.
Most expensive rookie card in hockey. Yeah. And it wasn't played. The game was played. Actually, they were supposed to be in Hartford because that's where they did a lot of the shooting, like photo shoots for players. And so, but Hartford's arena was under maintenance, so they actually had to pick a third-party site somewhere in Springfield somewhere. So it wasn't even a WHA arena that card was. So the most expensive NHL rookie card is not an NHL card. It's a WHA card played in not even in a sanctioned WHA arena. So it's just the crazy story. Ken Reed from Sportsnet actually has a couple of books out called Hockey Card Stories, and he does a real good story on that, and other cards too. But it's fascinating.
So tell us about the show. Like, this is the third. It's going to be the biggest by the sounds of it.
It is the biggest, absolutely. It's 52 tables. And the casino, when we talked to the girls at the casino, I was like, how many tables could we get? Well, we could probably get about 44. And I'm like, okay. But then, like I said, we laid out the floor plan, and we thought, well, if we just put an L-shaped table here, we can make more room, and made sure that the vendors were good with that, of course. But 52 tables solid. Sold. We have no more room now, unless we start going out into the lobby. But
or up on the stage.
Or up on. Well, we are on the stage with Ben and also PSA.
Oh, right.
So
right.
we're utilizing the stage as well. Each show we've kind of picked a special organization here in town to support. The first year we did the Olive Tree. And then back in the fall, we helped out Bee Fisher. And so this one, it's an organization that's really close to me because it's something that I certainly could have used as a teenager, going through some of the things I went through, sexual assault services. And I met up with Tammy there. You've been to that building.
Yeah. I actually did a show there, and then shortly after you'd messaged me and said, hey, I just checked this out.
It's a gorgeous building, and the facility itself, I mean, the basement's in some rough shape.
You can see why they want to keep it, though.
Right. It's perfect for what they're doing, and they have the walls painted. It's very peaceful, so if there's any victims that come in, and they can just feel at ease and not like there's any stress around them. It's like a very tranquil location, tranquil spot that the victims need. I mean, they're going through so much already, so try and make it as less of the least stressful environment possible for them. And even for the kids, there's toys, there's TV, there's things that they could do.
Gaming.
So that they could just feel relaxed and not feel like, the pressure of whatever their situation is heavy on them. And so when I walked through and Tammy really showed me what they did and explained it all to me, I just like, man, I need to help you guys out. I mean, obviously we're not going to raise enough money to support their foundation, but they really need a lot of supplies, because every kid that comes through and has, shares their story there, they get a blanket and they get a toy, something to take with them, so that they can have that comfort when they leave. So the money that we're raising for is going to go to some of the supplies that they need. And I want people to kind of look at this event not as a card show, but as a fundraiser for the sexual assault services, because that is our primary goal, and to have some fun doing that. Everything from the door entry fee to the raffle we're having a 50-50 as well. We got permission for that. So everything that is money related is going to go to the sexual assault services.
Well, let's talk about doors open. What time the doors open, and how much does it cost to get in?
So it's $5 for adults and older teens, and then mid-teens to the age of 6 is only $2, and then 5 and under are free. Doors open at 11 o'clock, and we're going till 5, and Ben is going to be there from 1 till 4. And so he'll be up on the stage signing autographs. So whether you're a Leafs, a Habs, or an Oilers fan, you have something for him to sign because he's played on all those teams.
Yeah.
And which is kind of cool. It's funny because I looked up and he was part of that Cassian deal. That
went to Montreal.
Cassia. So
after Cassian crashed his truck.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Habs said, that's enough for you. You're gone.
But that was a pretty sweet trade for Edmonton, I believe. And anyways, going back, so Ben's going to be there 1 to 4.
Don't let Ben hear you say that.
He won't. Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, and we got a lot of support from this community. And that's one thing I love about Lloyd. I know that I've only been here since 2015, going on to my 10th year, I guess. But it's just been fantastic to see the support that you get from businesses. I'm sure they get their doors knocked on frequently, but there is basically no end to how this community will stand behind their own people. And everybody's kind of been making, openings for us to have the opportunity to raise as much money. Like the Gold Horse Casino has comped the room for this show, so that we don't have to pay, and that money that frees up some money to go to the organization. Also, Ben Scrivens, unfortunately, it's not free that these guys, we still have to pay for travel and for their time. So Maxwell Music and The Proper have thrown in some money to help pay for that. We have, as you mentioned, a chance to win, an opportunity, not guaranteeing that you're going to win one, but if you do, you're awesome, and you're going to be up quite a few bucks. There's actually a bounty, so I'll just sidetrack here for a second. So this is his regular base Young Gun, but there is a gold background. It's called a Gold Burst. And so the Gold Burst actually has $1 million bounty on it.
And there's one, right?
It's a one of one, and there's a place in New York called Dave and Adams, and there'll be 1 million American, so that's like 1.4 Canadian. But there's a U.S. $1 million bounty on the Gold Burst Bedard rookie. Insane. So that's still out there. It hasn't been claimed, so we could have that. Well, I'm not going to try and pump it like that, but there's a chance. It should. Who knows where that box is?
Yeah, it's like Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber. So you're telling me there's a chance.
Telling me there's a chance. Yeah. Yes, exactly. So Classic Oilfield Services, they bought a box for us, and the raffle tickets are $10, and all the proceeds again to the Sexual Assault Services. We have Crispy Delights donating us a real cool photo. It's all the greatest players to wear numbers from 0 to 99.
Well, I've seen that. Yeah.
Now the funny thing is Bedard's not even on the list, so I can't remember who's at 98. It's some guy from Minnesota, but I guarantee it's nobody we've ever really heard of. But so Crispy Delights, they're donating that. Superior Water, who's one of your sponsors here, they are donated a family night out, meal at Montana's, and then a night of bowling. We have World Class Gym. Our friend Renee's thrown in a hoodie, or as people on the Saskatchewan side call a bunny hug.
Yeah.
Or actually, a friend of mine from British Columbia, he says, "Oh, it's just a sweater." And I was like, "What do you mean it's a sweater? It's not. No, that's not a sweater.
Sweaters don't have hoods.
Sweaters don't have hoods." But he was standing his ground. He's from Abbotsford. That's what they're called out there. Ivanhoe Motel. We have, like I said, a lot of vendors coming from out of town. We have from Medicine Hat, Lethbridge, Saskatoon, Regina, Edmonton. So a lot of people are traveling and need a night, because we set up at 8 in the morning. So these guys aren't just going to drive 3 or 4 hours, from 4 in the morning. So Ivanhoe Motel, Tony and his wife are providing rooms and accommodations for our travelers. And also we have it's a spin art. So I don't know exactly how he does it, but it's really cool because he puts the paint in the middle, and then he just kind of, I don't know if he puts it on a drill or however it spins, but then the paint spreads out, and then he puts the logo in the middle, and it's an Oilers spin art piece from a gentleman out in Ontario named Dean Townsend, and he's on Instagram and Facebook if you ever want to check out some of his items. But a lot of support. He donated that, yeah. He saw someone post something. Someone shared the event in Edmonton, who was, I guess, a friend of his. And then he contacted them and said, "Hey, what's this about? Blah, blah, blah." And next thing you know, he's like, "Well, who do I contact?" And so then they connected me with Dean, and he's like, "Oh, I'll send you a photo, or I'll send you a canvas piece of work, to donate." And I was like, "That's amazing." Like, never met the guy. He's not even from this province, and he's still chipping in. So
that's awesome.
It is fantastic, yeah.
That's just some of the raffle prizes.
Oh, yeah. We got home hardware's thrown in stuff. I got a box full at home of a brew house threw in a pasta party. And so.
Is there, like last year you had Chris Joseph do a little speaking. Is Ben going to do that?
I actually haven't run anything by Ben yet, but I mean, we could. I know our friends over at PTLN are going to come and do some chatting with him and find out, but we could probably open it up to a little Q&A if it's a little quieter and there's not much of a lineup. I don't think he'd object to that, but I need to check with him first. I better ask, instead of just saying yes. So, but
so he's there from 1 to 4 signing autographs.
Yeah.
You already mentioned Toronto, Montreal, Los Angeles. By the way, he played on that Los Angeles team that won a Stanley Cup, but he got traded before they won it. Got traded to Edmonton. And of course, Montreal.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's... we're going to talk to him just a few minutes here. And he's got some awesome stories. He's also won a bronze medal for Canada at the Olympics.
Right.
Yeah.
He's a Hobie Baker Award winner.
Oh, he was a nominee. He was
a nominee, right?
He was a nominee.
Yeah. So that's still
one of 10 nominees.
That's still pretty prestige. Like,
and he's a smart guy. Went to Cornell.
Yeah.
Really smart guy, and now a member of the Oilers alumni. Anything we're forgetting about the show you want people to know?
Well, again, like I said, I just want people to look at it as a fundraiser for the sexual assault services, and not just as a card show. But it is a fantastic card show, and whether you're an old collector or a new collector, it is a great place to finish some of your sets. I know some people just collect Tim Hortons, maybe missing a couple of cards. There'll be guys there with those, or maybe you have some sets from the 80s that you're missing some cards. They'll more than likely be there as well. So
might be some Ben Scrivens cards for sale.
Might be. Well, I grabbed 24 of them off eBay, so I have a handful, and actually we'll be selling those for $5.
Okay.
So if you want an actual Scrivens card signed, those are $5. Again, proceeds to sexual assault services. And other than that, just come on out, bring the family, bring your cards. There'll be sales, there'll be trading, there'll be everything. And PSA is going to be there taking submissions for grading as well. So,
they are going to be back.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Luke Quash, who actually grew up in Lloyd, I think he has a bit of an attachment here, and even though he lives in Edmonton now, he's going to be there. And this is actually the first year that we actually have Border City Games has been our normal business, local business in town, and we thank them very much for being there since day one. Border City Games is always my spot to go and get boxes or cards from, but we have some business out of Leduc now called the Hobby Spot, and also a business just on the north end of Edmonton called Froggers. So they are it's good to see some interest from the businesses who see the value in this and coming to the show. So it's going to be amazing.
Well, you were saying there will be some boxes available, some tins.
Yeah. Now I can't tell you that you'll get the same price that I paid, but
they've gone up.
The prices have gone up, and that's just because of this kid right here. And I was thinking on the way here, like we have Sid the Kid, we have McJesus, but what are we going to call this guy? I don't know. His nickname is Bedsy, but it just doesn't ring off, the others. So I guess somebody will come up with something here quick. But
was it 5 points in the game the other
5
night?
points, just a few days ago. So
far he's living up to expectations.
Absolutely. So. Even I still get a joke out of the fact that everybody's trying to grease him up a bit, taking some rough stuff, and there's some of the games where guys will, grease him into the boards, and you need to take it easy on a kid. Nobody took it easy on Crosby or McDavid. I mean, that's just
how many concussions did Crosby have?
Well, for sure, and I mean, that's how the game is.
People kind of took it easy on Gretzky, but that was a different era.
Yeah, that's true, and he also had a few guys that
he had a few bodyguards.
Yeah. But so it's going to be a great show, and we just encourage everybody to come out and check it out. I mean, this might be the chance that you're going to get that Bedard rookie, and off a $10 ticket, you could potentially get a $800 card. So it's going to be a great show, tons of prizes, and all the proceeds to the sexual assault services.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Kurt.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, Ben Scrivens will join us.
Save some green this March by visiting the new Lloydminster Nissan in the Big Blue building on Highway 16 West. Purchase a new car, truck, or SUV from the new Lloydminster Nissan this March and get lucky. Right now at the new Lloydminster Nissan, your first payment is on us, and you can win free payments for a year with your new or pre-owned purchase. May the luck of the Irish be with you all March and all year. The new Lloydminster Nissan. We won't sell you a car, we'll help you buy one.
How can you help support the oil and gas industry and jobs in Western Canada? The answer is closer than you think. Sell your scrap metals to PWM Steel. PWM sells scrap iron to Evraz, located in Regina. Evraz's #1 customer is the energy sector, building pipes and plates for the oil and gas industry. PWM Steel is your locally owned metal recycler and steel service center in the area. Plus, they're a strong supporter of the community. PWM Steel, your top steel supplier for Alberta and Saskatchewan for 40 years.
At Diamond 7 Meats, we work with local farm families to provide a high-quality product and a great selection for you. Try our mouth-watering smokies, pulled pork, roast beef, and more, made pure and natural with no additives or fillers. We offer custom processing, and our experienced team works for you to provide a selection of sausage, burgers, and jerkies made to your specifications. Take your grilling to the next level with a Yoder smoker. Complete the grilling experience with Canadian-made, award-winning line of House of Q barbecue sauces. We're locally owned and operated, and we look forward to seeing you today.
Ben, thanks for being here. Thanks for doing this. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me, Kurt. Appreciate it.
Let's start with back in Spruce Grove. Let's talk about Ben Scrivens. Did he always want to be a goaltender?
I don't know. Like, I hear so often now, like the kids I always dreamt of making the NHL, and that really wasn't me. I don't know if I was a pragmatic kid as well, but certainly who I turned into as an adult. But yeah, I don't know. I think I knew I wasn't very good at scoring goals. You know, the Tom Thumb years where everybody gets 50. I think I had 3. So it turned into, you know, a fun experience to try to prevent, to try and ruin other people's fun, so to speak. And then, you know, I was never, you know, the top, you know, prospect or whatever. I played AA hockey pretty much all the way up. So, you know, I watched the Oilers, and you know, that was kind of the Cujo and Tommy Salo years. And it was a lot of fun to see them squeak into the 8th seed and then upset Dallas or upset Colorado. But as far as me picturing myself there, I never, you know, I didn't have that dream. I wanted to skateboard during the summer, and I wanted to hang out with my friends, and I wanted to play hockey and be in net when I was, you know, whenever I had the opportunity. So I think in the long run, sort of that down to earth demeanor probably helped my career in a lot of senses. But to say it was by design would be giving myself too much credit.
So pretty obviously you're an Oiler fan, and was Curtis Joseph the guy growing up that you look up to, that's the poster hanging on your wall?
Yeah, I wasn't the biggest collector, so I started with the Brett Hull GT poster. That was the first one, and then probably whatever I got for Christmas. So, you know, it was a Rock'em Sock'em hockey. Started with Felix Potvin, so that was probably my guy when I was like a young kid, and then once I, you know, could, you know, piece together that there was a hometown team and that it was the Oilers. It was kind of in that, yeah, again, that Tommy Salo, Cujo years, and obviously Cujo kind of backstopping those big playoff wins was he turned into, not that I had a, you know, this is my guy per se, but certainly a fan. And then as I got a little bit older, I wanted to go a little more obscure and say, you know, not just the guy who was winning Vezines every year, the Patrick Roys or the Brodeur. So Byron Dafoe in Boston turned into the guy that I really like. So yeah, it was a good kind of escalation of guys to watch and you know, see what they were doing. And certainly Byron Dafoe being a Vaughan guy really helped cement him in my my top 5.
I assume you got the nickname the Professor at Cornell, or was that after Cornell?
It was after, and I'm not. It was either Clark MacArthur or.
Hey, that's a Lloyd guy. That's a Lloyd Mister guy. So that's pretty neat to hear.
Yeah,
actually,
it was either Clark or it was John Michael Lyles. One of the two of them when I was in Toronto, and certainly stemmed from me being a college guy. I went to university in upstate New York, and I don't know. I don't really watch a lot of football or you know, the other kind of hot button sports, sport of the day type of things that guys were keeping themselves entertained with off the ice. So when we were talking, what books are you reading? I kind of am an opinionated guy in a lot of senses. So it didn't take them long to understand that I was a little bit different on that end. And, you know, there's far worse things they could have called me than the Professor. So I'm happy that's the one that came up and the one that stuck.
play for the Los Angeles Kings, but in Canada, you play for the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Montreal Canadiens, and the Edmonton Oilers. Talk about a hot seat. Like if there's three Canadian cities where, the goaltending is going to be talked about all the time, it's those three cities. It worked out for you that you were traded to Edmonton and traded to Montreal, but you chose Toronto in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that.
So coming out of university, I was really fortunate. My roommate at Cornell is a guy named Justin Kruger. His dad is Ralph Kruger, who Oilers fans may recognize as the former coach here. But at the time, he was the head coach of the Swiss national team. So he was kind of in lockstep with a goaltending coach by the name of Francois Allaire. And Frankie was working with Jonas Hiller, Martin Gerber, David Abisher, through his time in Anaheim. So Frankie ran a camp in Switzerland every year, and Ralph did me a huge favor and really was a catapult for my career, because he talked to Frankie and advocated and asked if I could have one of the 16 spots in this European camp. And, I went there for 2 summers, worked with Frankie. It really helped my game. And then when I was graduating, when I was coming out of university, Frankie was the goaltending coach in Toronto. So, they for sure had they had the inside track on me. There's a couple of other teams, but to get an opportunity to work with Frankie and in that system kind of day in and day out was something that I thought was really going to be beneficial to my career.
You didn't play in Toronto, Montreal, or Edmonton during the times when things were good. All those teams were kind of, I wouldn't say Montreal was rebuilding at the time, but they were kind of on the way down. But you get traded to LA, and that's a different situation. That's a team that's on its way up. What did you like playing in LA where the weather was warm? Were you disappointed to get traded, or were you hoping to get out of there because Jonathan Quick was there?
Yeah, I didn't have any hopes one way or the other. I liked playing everywhere. I mean, it's the best league in the world. You don't really look. It's certainly a guy like me that's like thankful to be there. You're not really looking down on any opportunity to play games and to be part of an organization. And obviously LA, they had won the cup 2 years before, ended up winning it again that year. So it was fun to be part of a team that was that good, they were legit contenders and obviously followed through on that. Downside was, playing under Sutter. He's a guy who likes to ride his hot guy, the guy he has trust in. He did that in Calgary. I think Kiprasov played 74 games or something one year. And obviously Quickie and the pedigree, and that was kind of his prime. So there weren't a ton of opportunities to get in there, but Quickie ended up getting hurt that year. I got a couple opportunities. And then Edmonton wanted to make a switch, and Dubnyk ended up moving out to Nashville, and they brought me in as kind of a new piece, a fresh look, and ended up signing my contract extension there. So, I get asked a lot about if I wish I would have stayed, but you have no control over these things. And I was happy to come to Edmonton. I loved my time in Edmonton, and wish we would have had some more numbers in the win column, but ended up getting a pretty good couple players in Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid out of it. So, that's, if there's any consolation prize in the rough years, there's a little bit of pride in helping to rebuild the team going forward.
Okay, one of those rough years, January 29th, 2014, you set the NHL record for saves in a shutout, and then the Oilers record in the process of doing that as well. Mm-hmm. You guys beat San Jose 3-0. Did you feel something different that night? Was it one of those things where you just I think about George Costanza when he set the Frogger record. He's like, "Oh, everything was just right that day for me. It was just perfect." I know that's kind of a stupid reference, but
no, I always like a good Seinfeld reference. And ironically, it was the exact opposite. That's and I've told this story before. Like the worst warm up I think I ever had in my pro career. Like I think I stopped 3 pucks in warm up. I was like, "Oh my god, this is gonna be this." honestly, like this is going to be a bad one. And got out there. And I mean, that's one of the things you learn to do as, you know, the longer you play, more established you get in the league is like, you know what, like anything that happens before you kind of just figure out ways to reset yourself. And so I went in during the intermission between warm ups in the game and just tried to kind of reset and, you know, all right, let's just make the first save and see where it goes from there. And yeah, I made the first couple, and I think the third one was a little bit uncomfortable, but made the save, and then, you know, just started to get a little bit of momentum. And I was seeing pucks really well. They also hit 2 posts, and you know how those things go. Sometimes they're posting in, sometimes they're posting out. So I got fortunate there. And then also Nick Schultz blocked a shot in the third period that was going in. So you know, they always say that a shutout is a team effort, and people kind of scoff when I say it about this one in particular, but you know, it could have just been a good game instead of one of the great ones. So really fortunate for those bounces.
But 59 saves and 2 posts, and those don't even count on shots on goal.
That's the thing that rattles me about the game. We, like, as goalies, we make our money, we earn our contracts off of our stats, and save percentage being a huge one. And my memory, and maybe someone who's, you know, was behind the scenes can correct me on this, but it was always like, man, like I'm missing 4 shots a game, and over the course of, you know, 50 starts, you know, that's a couple percentage points in your save percentage, right? That's a difference between sub 900 and a 905, or, you know, a 910 and a 916, right? Those are impactful numbers when you go back to the table for a contract year. And so to have a game like that, and I don't know what the final was, like the unofficial final was, but I remember them telling me like, well, there's not a record yet. They're going to go through and make sure all the shots were shots. I was like, well, what? Like, why aren't you doing that for all the other ones when it might be beneficial, you know? But I certainly understand the integrity of your record, and you know, better now that they went through it, and it's the official like 59 one. So just waiting. Someday it'll be a 60, and when it does, you know, my head will be off to that player.
I love 59 saves, and the one you didn't make, Nick Schultz makes, is the one you remember the most.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a couple that I remember, but in particular, I remember that one. It was a pass out to the slot. He went down, hit him in the ass, I think, and I was a little bit late coming over to it. And there's shots you just know you're behind on it, you're late on it, and that one for sure was going in. So yeah, forever some beers.
Traded to Montreal. What was that like playing in a francophone city? And were you shocked when you got traded to Montreal?
Not really shocked. There was kind of rumblings because Carey Price was hurt that year. I was down in Bakersfield, so like was hopeful that I was going to get another shot. And you know, went up and played and won some games. And yeah, it was another tough or trying situation with the Habs team at that specific instance. But you know, got to play with some more great players: PK Subban, Pacioretty, Brendan Gallagher. So, you know, Danny Markov. You know, it was you know, it was a tough time, but again, you're always thankful for any opportunity you get to play in the best league in the world, and to play another Original Six, another big Canadian market. It's funny, and anytime I talk to somebody from Newfoundland or from the East Coast, they're either, oh yeah, I loved you when you played for it, and it's either the Leafs or the Habs. So I kind of get, you know, it seems like everybody I talk to from Newfoundland or from the East Coast seems to be, you know, on my side, at least to a small degree.
You mentioned, you know, growing up playing AA. The AJHL has seen some really big changes this year, some shocking changes. Do you have a take on what's happening with the 5 teams from the Alberta Junior Hockey League leaving to join the BCHL?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's disappointing for an alum, somebody who got my break, an opportunity to play at the next level through the AJHL and through the True Alberta League. It's disappointing because you just realize that it's going to hurt some kids who may miss out on opportunities. It's not going to hurt the top guys, because the top guys were always going to get those looks and get those offers. But when you are a player that's kind of in that mid ground, when you get to play against those top guys, the scouts are coming to see those, or the teams, the scouts, the coaches are coming to see those top teams and top players. And you get a chance to make a name for yourself when you show up in those games. And with kind of the consolidation between the BCHL, or the former BCHL, and now the former AJHL into this sort of Super League. I mean, it's quite clear it's meant to compete with the Western League to get more of the 15, 16-year-old kids into the Tier 2 junior, the Junior A pipeline, and out of that WHL sort of track. Another huge impactful thing is going to be what the NCAA does if they start to allow major junior players to transfer over with the new NIL deals, or new NIL rules around whether you can make money or not. Now you don't have to be like a pure amateur, so maybe those CHL players have an opportunity. Again, the difficult part is this trickle down and the opportunity it takes away from some of those quality guys who just need a little bit extra time. That was me. I was 19, never played AAA until my last year of midget, so I was 17, and then went to university. Didn't start my first year in university. It wasn't until I was kind of 22 that I was developed mentally and physically enough to compete at that pro level. So disappointing. Change somewhat is inevitable. It's just tough that the guys that this churn is going to push out of the game that potentially had opportunities.
Appreciate that. This is the Border City Collector Show. Once again, Ben Scrivens, our guest, and he's going to be signing autographs from 1 to 4 on Saturday. That's at the Gold Horse Casino. You mentioned you didn't really collect things as a kid, but as you went through your career, did you collect anything along the way?
I have my masks, basically one mask from each team that I either has a special meaning to me or I just really liked the imagery of it. I have a few sets of pads that I've collected, my Olympic stuff, and my last set of NHL pads. So a couple of other gear related things, but by and large, the memories are kind of what keep me going. I have a bronze medal that super fortunate to win at the Olympics, and it's I don't think it's seen the light of day for a couple of years now, right? It's a memento that means a lot, but on a day-to-day basis, most of my stuff is just the relationships that I was able to cultivate in those friendships, and whatever sort of memories get jogged as I have fun conversations with fans.
Do you have your hockey cards?
I think I have a couple, but I tended to give a lot of them away, like sign them. They're for like kids or like the child of a friend from high school or whatever, kind of the stuff that would, do you have anything to sign? And I didn't. What I could have done and maybe should have done is put together like my own sort of like picture catalog, and I could have print out 50 of them, so if anybody asks I could sign those instead of end up dishing out some of the cards that kind of came up. But I think I've got probably a couple, maybe a handful of each one of them, but yeah, not too many.
The Olympic bronze medal, the highlight of your career?
As far as like a result, yeah, I think I'd have to go with that. It's the biggest stage, biggest sporting stage in the world. It's up there with FIFA World Cup. It's up there with a lot of these really massive viewership opportunities, and to come away to be part of a team that actually won something was it's something that nobody can take away from the guys on that group. And it's basically a cool story I get to tell my kids now. But that opportunity to just kind of put everything else aside and just play the most meaningful hockey you can for 2.5 weeks was something I look back on quite fondly.
You got the alumni hat on. Do you go to a lot of Oiler games these days?
I go to probably 5 or 6 a year, I would say. Kind of depends on, like, I was at the game against Colorado on Saturday. Was kind of doing a show and share type of thing with Laddie Smead, and a contest winner who had helped out and won a package, an auction package with the Edmonton Down Syndrome Society. So those are the things that I like doing. I like hockey. I wouldn't say I'm like the biggest fan of hockey at this point. There's a lot of other things I choose to spend my time on, which bring me a lot of fulfillment. But to be involved with the Edmonton Oilers Alumni Association does fantastic work in the community. They're really engaged, really involved, especially with the alumni group. So, we get a couple skates a year, or a couple skates a month out on Rogers. We're in the community a ton. We do the Alzheimer's Pro-Am. We do the Hockey Helps the Homeless Pro-Am. So all really cool opportunities for us to kind of stay involved with the game, and, meet and greet the fans and, pump our own egos a little bit.
That when you come out to Lloyd, I suppose that's the one question you'll get the most is, what do you think the Oilers' chances are this year?
I think they're pretty good. I don't know that there's been a hotter team since, when did they turn that around? Late November.
November 24th, 5-0 against Washington. It's been all up since then.
Yeah, if you look at their record from that point on, you obviously have the 16-game winning streak, but you've got a couple other 5, 6, 7-game streaks in there. It was a tough loss against Colorado, and they got a tough schedule down the stretch. So, we'll see. They had a chance to catch Vancouver. I don't know if they'll do it anymore. They've kind of let a couple of the ones they should have won slip away. And Vancouver seems to have already exercised some of their midseason demons. So I don't know that they'll catch Vancouver anymore, that they'll probably finish a solid second in the division. And from that point on, it's a tough division to make it out of. But if you can do that, you hope maybe you don't get Dallas on in the Eastern Conference Final or Colorado, the Western Conference Final in either of those two teams. But yeah, we'll see. They got a great chance. Yeah, I don't know that they've had a better one in the last 20 or 30 years.
Well, Ben, we really appreciate your time. Thanks so much for giving us some of it today. And I look forward to seeing you on Saturday at the Border City Card Show, which, by the way, is a fundraiser for Lloyd sexual assault. So really appreciate that as well.
Absolutely. Thanks, Kurt. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you to Ben Scrivens for joining us this morning. Ben going to be in Lloydminster once again from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Gold Horse Casino, signing autographs at the Border City Card Show. Well, here it is, the first day of spring. It has arrived here. It's been a nice winter, but now that it is spring, they'll be breaking ground soon on that clubhouse over at Wellings of Lloydminster. Modern living for those 55 and over has finally come to Lloydminster. This has been in other places for years. It's for those adults 55 and over who are looking to get out of their home, but they still want to live independently, still want to control the heat, have the thermostat where they want to set the thermostat, still have your own appliances, have a garage, have a pet. Wellings of Lloydminster is located over by Petro-Canada and 7-Eleven, that new Petro-Canada and 7-Eleven on the Alberta side. And if you're done with ownership and the responsibility comes with it, and taking care of the shingles and fixing appliances and drips and stuff like that, and you just want to start living more, or your health is dictating, hey, maybe it's time to get into a location where there's others around you a little bit more. You can still have company over, but you're not having to climb on top of the roof and do things like that anymore. Or maybe you just want more time to travel. That's where Wellings of Lloydminster comes in. It's a nice little community with these gorgeous villas, 1-2-bedroom villas, and as I mentioned, they're going to be breaking ground on a clubhouse pretty soon as well. So if that's what you're looking at and you're going, well, if I have health issues, what about the lease? Talk to Darlene. She'll explain that. They make it real easy. 780-872-8537. Call Darlene, set up a viewing. She'll walk you through one of their gorgeous villas at Wellings of Lloydminster. We're back with you tomorrow morning. We'll be talking to Dustin Newman about the Clunker Dunker in Kitscotty.